victims that you haven't heard from is my family. And I apologize.
An emotional Jamie Knoll now heading off to prison. Judge Larry Medlock makes his decision after listening to several witnesses today. Some claim Knoll's mismanagement of New Chapel EMS actually cost lives. We have a live report from our Travis Breeze on sentencing day coming up.
The innocent victims of the random shooting at New Albany's Harvest Homecoming tonight. More on the 18-year-old student from Corydon killed in that shooting. The superintendent of his school system is talking about the tragic loss.
And also developing story, the verdict is in. The man who drove onto a downtown sidewalk high on hydrocodone, killing a man and badly injuring his family. Here's his fate from a jury in a Louisville courtroom today. The big stories are right now on WHAS 11 News.
That grandma, your mom, grandpa, your dad, and Leon would be very disappointed in you. Karma is coming for you, and I hope you realize how bad this upsets me. Have fun in prison because you deserve it. Yeah, that's what I want to see right there, is you crying.
The reaction in the courtroom today as the judge sticks with the plea deal. The former sheriff Jamie Knoll officially be given a total of a 12-year prison sentence, 3 years on probation, after Judge Larry Medlock accepted that deal after listening to some tough testimony, as you saw right there. It's a story our Focus team's been following for over a year now. Knoll showing emotion and speaking publicly for the first time. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Connie Leonard. Now, Knoll is guilty of stealing over $4 million from his fire and EMS companies and misusing his power as sheriff. Focus reporter Travis Breeze and photojournalist Emma Gefter covered the final day of the case. And Travis, there was a lot of emotion in that courtroom today. What was it like?
There certainly was, Connie, and those victim impact statements took 3 hours. And then before we took a break, we heard that Jamie Knoll was going to speak. And, a lot of us weren't sure if that was going to happen. I don't really think that he started to cry and that his emotion got unlocked until he heard the emotion from the victims. As you just heard from Hope Knoll when she called him out, that was the first time when he cried. So he did show some remorse in the courtroom today, and he'll have 12 years now to think about his actions.
I confess to Almighty God, to you, my brothers and sisters, that I have sinned through my thoughts and my words, what I've done and what I've failed to do.
Jamie Knoll tearing up, struggling to make it through the handwritten speech that he may have made at the Scott County Jail. Judge Larry Medlock took a lot of time to decide whether he would accept this plea deal, including listening to victims. One of the victims was Susanna Worrell, whose brother-in-law, Red, died from a medical event at a polling place on Election Day 2023. She says it took 27 minutes from the time they called 911 until Red arrived at the hospital.
Could Red still be alive today if the ambulance had arrived faster? Possibly.
Medlock said he and his office investigated all possible sentences for Knoll and feels this may have been the best one.
Everybody wants you to do a lifetime in prison. Maybe that's what you deserve. But the law will not allow me to do that.
One of the questions we asked the special prosecutor after this was over is, will Jamie Knoll be assigned to a prison yet today? He said that that's up to the Department of Corrections and we can't be totally sure. Judge Medlock did have the power to change a few things in the plea deal. He said that Jamie Knoll will spend his 3 years of probation in Washington County, and he gave him $10,000 of court fees for every one of the felonies that he pleaded guilty to. Doug, Connie?
Well, Travis, as we've been talking, Judge Larry Medlock was certainly the wild card in all of this. He had shown no patience with Jamie Knoll, but the judge got exactly what he wanted today, testimony from the very specific victims he really wanted to hear from.
He did. He kind of held their hand, a few of them, as they were speaking. Some of them who had a family member died, he said, "I'm so sorry for what you've gone through." The mayor of Charlestown, Treva Hodges, spoke, and he thanked her for her job and apologized if they didn't get any money that they should have through Jamie Knoll's crimes. So yes, he did get what he wanted from those victim impact statements, Doug.
Thank you, Travis. Also connected to Knoll's case is longtime friend and Clark County Council member John Miller.
Miller is calling for the dismissal of his conflict of interest case in which he's accused of benefiting financially after approving funds for New Chapel EMS.
Now, while in court on Friday, Miller's attorney said that even if he did get gifts that Noel purchased with the New Chapel money, that was not a direct result of Miller's votes on the county council. They also say a conflict of interest charge requires a direct benefit from the contract, which didn't happen.
Miller's attorneys have until Thursday to submit additional information on his motion to dismiss, and they also want to move the case to Fort Wayne or to Bloomington. They say Noel's case has gotten too much pretrial publicity, and Clark County residents have prejudged Miller. Now, to see Jamie Noel's full 6-minute statement and apology, just go to WHS11's YouTube channel. The video is pinned to the top of the page, and don't forget to hit subscribe.
2 people will survive the random triple shooting that happened at Harvest Homecoming. New Albany police are now saying, however, no arrests have been made. And today we're learning how the small town of Corydon is reeling from the loss of 18-year-old Bryce Gerlach.
Yeah, it was a day full of hugs and tears after a night of the same. Hundreds of heavy hearts as you see pouring into the streets of the small Indiana town.
Our Ian Hartwitt is joining us right now after taking the trip out to Corydon. He also covered the vigil last night. Ian, what's the latest you're learning today?
Doug, I'm hearing that the school had to provide a lot of extra counseling for the students. A lot of people came out last night, though, from the surrounding counties, bringing food and comfort to that grieving senior class. Take a look here. There's a sudden memorial made for Gerlach at the end of last night's vigil. The candles today still burning bright for him. And inside, the school guidance counselors and therapy dogs supported students. Rival schools even brought the grieving senior class breakfast. Gerlach was supposed to play in a game this Friday night, senior night for Corydon Central High. Now Superintendent Mark Eastridge says it'll go on in the football star's memory.
The family said, oh, by all means, play the game, because Bryce would have not only wanted his teammates to play, but go out there and beat them. So that's where they'll be Friday night. There will be obviously a recognition of all seniors, but then a recognition of Bryce and the loss there. And to the best of my knowledge at this point in time, the family will be there to walk in honor of him.
Togetherness, that's how Eastridge says the students are getting through this tragedy. He's asking everyone out to Friday night's game, wanting them to wear blue. That was Gerlach's favorite color. I'm live in studio, Ian Hartwitt.
Ian, thank you for that update. Now, according to Harvest Homecoming's website, there's not a list of prohibited items that even lists weapons. However, the president of the festival, said to Today that Harvest Homecoming is in talks with city leaders in New Albany to enhance next year's security.
This year's tragedy has businesses hoping that next year's security looks different.
I think safety is going to be #1 priority. Not that it wasn't this year, but hopefully there's some, more security or rules maybe that come along with that, and just keep everybody safe and look out for one another. We can work things out without bringing violence into it.
Like many festivals in Kentuckiana, there's not one specific interest in and out of Harvest Homecoming.
Also in Indiana, you don't need a permit to carry a concealed handgun in public.
Now, New Albany police say they do have some suspects in mind in the shooting that happened, but they have not made any arrests. If you know anything, you're asked to go ahead and help New Albany police detectives. Give them a call at their dispatch line. The number's on your screen at 812-944-6411.
Well, did you grab a jacket today when you went out for the first time?
I was really trying not to. I couldn't find long pants early this morning. I was still wearing shorts. It was cold. Wow. I'll give it to you, Ben Pine, but I'm not turning on the furnace.
Did you find that thermostat?
I am not turning on the furnace. Wool is an amazing thing to wear inside a house.
I'm gonna set the thermostat and let it turn on itself when it needs to come on. But yeah, we've got a big change out there over the last 24 hours. No doubt about that. We were in the low 80s yesterday and about 20 to 25 degrees cooler out there today. Seeing just a little bit of that fall color in some of the trees as well. Coming up in our full forecast, we'll look at the peak fall foliage forecast, and we'll get you ready for that as well. 56 and 57 are current temperatures, and some areas have only managed the lower 50s today. 53 in Shelbyville right now. Elizabethtown checking in at 54 degrees. You can see that cool flow sliding in from the northwest, keeping our temperatures more than 10 degrees below average for this time of the year. A few little showers off to our north, but we will stay dry here for tonight. At best, maybe a couple sprinkles flying off to the northeast. 50s this evening. Not too cold tonight. It'll be chilly in the 40s, but clouds and a little bit of a breeze will keep us frost free. Now tomorrow night, a little different story. After highs in the 50s and maybe a sprinkle chance tomorrow afternoon, we clear out. The winds will turn a lot lighter, so some ingredients for some frost for our early Wednesday morning. So a little weather impact alert for you there for Wednesday morning. Looks like the best frost chance will be outside the city limits. So it's for tonight, chilly, a low 46 degrees and mostly cloudy, 56 at noon tomorrow, and heading up to the mid and upper 50s again for tomorrow afternoon, more like mid-November. I'll show you how long this October chill will last coming up in our Weather Impact Team full forecast.
All right. Thank you so much, Ben.
Verdict under instruction number 5, murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Michael Steele Empson Hurley, guilty under instruction number 5.
Guilty was the verdict that came down today for Michael Hurley. The Southern Indiana man rammed his car into the Jones family visiting Louisville for a basketball tournament that was over 2 years ago, killing the father and seriously injuring the mother and daughter of that family. Now, it took the jury less than 2 hours to come up with the verdict, finding Hurley guilty of murder, driving under the influence, and multiple counts of assault. Jose Alonso reports from the Jefferson County Judicial Center with the latest.
Connie, yeah, they just wrapped up in the courtroom minutes ago, right before 5 o'clock, and this is looking like it's going to continue on into tomorrow morning as well. As you heard, that guilty verdict being given by the jury to Michael Hurley, and now the jury is tasked with giving a recommended sentencing for the judge to consider. But before they can do that, prosecutors and the defense are bringing in more witnesses to talk as well on the stand. But I want to bring it back to the beginning. A lot happened today when the attorneys were in the courtroom giving their closing arguments.
Verdict under instruction number 5, murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Michael Steele Empson Hurley, guilty under instruction number 5.
This is Michael Hurley's reaction after his guilty verdict was read in the courtroom. A Jefferson County jury finding the Southern Indiana man guilty on 5 different charges, all stemming from him crashing into the Jones family with his car while intoxicated on a substance. During closing arguments, Hurley's defense continued to question blood test procedures and reminded jurors he cooperated with police.
I remember he answered all my questions and he was coherently having a conversation with me.
This is not murder. This is not a situation where somebody got in his car and said, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm just going to drive into a sidewalk and hit a fan.
Jones family went from this to this in just minutes.
Commonwealth prosecutors arguing Hurley meets the murder or manslaughter charges for his behavior right after hitting the Jones family.
I'm not aware of moral just like
Prosecutors say the deadly level of fentanyl in his system also speaks to his character.
Michael Hurley is an experienced opioid user. He said, Dr. Davis said if he hadn't been using it quite recently, that amount would have killed him. Michael Hurley's own mom had to lock up opioids in her safe to keep them away from Michael Hurley.
And right now, just again, this all ended around 5 o'clock, but I want to bring it back to what happened just moments ago. The jury gave that verdict, and now the jury has to deliberate soon after hearing more witness testimony about these 3 felony charges as the prosecutors and defense continue to cross-examine the witnesses as well. But also on the stand just moments ago was Amy Jones again, this time focusing on the loss of her husband and the father of her children. Now, these witness testimonies are going to look like they're heading into tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Reporting live in Louisville, Jose Alonso, WHAS11 on your side.
Okay, Jose, thank you very much reporting from the courtroom downtown today. A Bullitt County mother is intending to plead guilty to the deadly shooting of her 2 sons last year. In court this morning, Tiffany Lucas's attorney asking the judge for a status hearing this week, which the judge agreed to. According to the Bullitt County Commonwealth's attorney, Lucas is expected to plead guilty at that hearing. The attorney told WHAS 11 News there is no plea deal and the judge will sentence her at a later date. Lucas previously pleaded not guilty to the murder of her 6- and 9-year-old sons from last November. She's set to return to court coming up this Thursday.